Good evening, folks. I'm Greg Kearns with Allegheny Media. We are joined by two head coaches of two of the top programs in AA football here in the state of West Virginia. Head coach of the Kaiser High School Golden Tornado, Derek Stephen, and head coach of the Robert C. Byrd RCB Eagles, Coach Josh Gurrell. Coach Josh Gurrell, first, thank you for joining us. Thank you for taking a couple minutes. Obviously, we'll start here, and Derek will give you a chance. The elephant in the room, obviously, there should be a football game tonight. It's not going to happen. A top 10 matchup in the power rankings to start the season, your Eagles and the Golden Tornado. Can you just kind of touch on what your process has been, how your guys have stayed ready, motivated to kind of get an extra week of preseason, so to speak, before opening the season next Friday night?
You know, it's not as though we haven't approached the season knowing that this was coming somewhat. We'd hoped that it didn't come to this. Obviously, we wanted to play tonight. I'm sure Coach wanted to play tonight. There's no doubt in my mind. It's an early season matchup of two great football teams. It gives you a chance to see where your programs are and how far you've come in camp. We're going to take it as we're going to continue to work and try to get better, work on the fundamentals, the techniques, see if we can fit it in down the road. Hopefully we can squeeze it in. And that's all you could do right now, truthfully. I mean, you can't worry about what's happened past or in the future. We can take care of tomorrow, today, and go forward. And hopefully we get this game in and we can play. Because I'd really like to have the opportunity to play. Listen, it's a chance to play great competition from a great staff. And any time that you want to be good, that's what you want.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the rest of the state, probably a bunch of AA schools anticipate what would have been an awesome game tonight. Coach Stephen, kind of the same question. As one of the newest members on your staff, I've kind of got to have a little background as far as how Kaiser has dealt with it and how the players have tried to stay motivated and ready. But just for the public, can you kind of touch on that same thing? And kind of like Coach Gurrell said, there was obviously you hoped that something like this wouldn't happen, but it was always in the back of everyone's mind.
Yeah, after what happened to us last year at the end of the year, this was always definitely in the back of our mind that something like this would happen. And we didn't think it was going to happen right off the bat. And it stinks that we lost this game. Like Coach said, when you get to go against teams like RCB and Kaiser, you know where you stand after that game. So that was something we were looking forward to, just to seeing where we stood in AA compared to everybody else. And there's no doubt in my mind tonight would have been a good game. But as far as what we're going to try to work on, we're going to go back to the basics pretty much. We haven't had a practice since last Monday, the 16th. So we're having a little one after school today, a quick one. So we can get the kids out there. Then hopefully we can get out and catch a little bit of scouting tonight for the future opponents.
Definitely. No, and like I said, I think there's a lot of folks in the state that pray that this game comes to fruition somewhere down the line. Moving on here, after both programs, honestly, such successful seasons last year, even with the circumstances. We'll go back to you, Coach Gurrell. What do you look back on last year, and what are your keys that you're trying to build on, and where do you think RCB needs to climb to this season?
Well, I've been asked that question several times throughout the last 3-4 weeks. And honestly, we've talked a bunch to our kids about this. You know what? It's unfortunate what happened last year, but we're not in that boat alone. It happened to a lot of people. You can't worry about what happened last year. This is a new year, new teams, new schemes, new everything. What you did last year really doesn't count anymore. It doesn't matter. It was nice. It was a wonderful run. I'm proud of the team and what the kids accomplished last year. I'm blessed to have a tremendous staff. God willing, we can get to the same run that we were on last year. That's the goal. Let's get back and compete for a title. Honestly, I will be truthful with you. I'm tired of going 8-2, 9-1, and getting beat in the first and second round of the playoffs. I've been doing that gig for quite a while now. That's old. I want to make it to the island, start playing for titles. I think if there's anything to you at all as a coach or a program, that's the ultimate goal. So we've told our kids, listen, let's focus on day-to-day getting better. We talk about that all the time. Each day, let's get better. Don't worry about tomorrow. Don't worry about yesterday. None of that matters. Let's focus on today. Let's work today. And we've done a great job doing that. Our kids have bought in. They understand the process and where we're headed. I've been blessed to have a great staff and a great team this year. Honestly, it's probably one of the best teams in terms of camaraderie and attitude that we've had in quite some time. So I think we're headed in the right direction. I just hope and pray that we are.
Yeah, absolutely. And those things you mentioned are definitely important. Coach Stephen, before we get to you, we'd like to take a quick moment and notarize a couple of our sponsors. Fox's Pizza and Kaiser. Throughout the season, during the broadcast of the games, they will be putting out a code to receive 10% off your order. Belt Paving will be powering the production of Allegheny Media's broadcast of Kaiser High School football. And Tenbrook Automotive will be sponsoring the play drive throughout the season. So thank you very much to our sponsors. And now back into it. Coach Stephen, same question. What, based off last year, obviously like Coach had just mentioned, last year, I don't think you're both very successful in a sense to where I think that's a mentality that you share. But if you can kind of draw any parallels or look back on last year and focus on a couple things to build on, what would those key things be?
First, one of the big things that we took from last year is this can end in any moment. And so we want you to go out and practice and play last snap, your last play, your last practice. And that's one thing that we preach to the boys regardless. We were doing before then, but I think it really last year, especially with the guys returning this year. So that's one of the things we're going to keep doing. Like, hey, it wasn't a great practice, it wasn't a great thing, but hey, you get a chance to do this again. But remember, you want to give your all every single time because this could end any moment. So that's one of the things we took from last year that we're still kind of preaching a little bit this year with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And from year to year, obviously, you lose key parts of your team from last year. You return guys get bigger, stronger, faster, more experienced. Derek, we'll start with you on this one. Do you have any guys that have really showed out in camp that have really put themselves above and beyond what you thought they would be, or maybe poised for a big season and project themselves not only for local stardom, but some notoriety around the state?
Yeah, we had a bunch of guys that bought in this offseason and in the weight room, on the field. And so, but just to name a couple, we have our returners that we had last year were Sammy Bradfield. He did a little bit of everything for us last year. He was like our Swiss Army knife. He took the rock when we needed it. He did some damage out of the backfield catching the ball, out of the slot receiver type. So I'm looking for him to step up, have even more of a role this year than what he did last year. And I think he's embraced that role. He's put himself in the weight room, throwing around the weights like it's nothing else in there, busting his butt out on the practice field. And so I think he's ready to step in that leadership role and be able to tote the rock a little bit more and carry the load if need be. And then blocking for him is our Gabe Ryan. I think this guy right here, he's going to be something special when it's all said and done. He is a workhorse. He is a kid that you just know that you don't have to look for him. He's going to do what he do. He's going to give you effort every single play. He's going to do the little things. He's I think he might be the heart and soul going in right now of what our line will be. So he's a 3-year starter, a 2-year starter, projected to be a 3-year starter this year. I don't see anyone taking his job from him. So he's a big guy that we're looking for to carry us this year.
Definitely, yeah. And having a little bit of inside information, I would say you might not be looking or worried about Gabe, but there are quite a few kids I think that you're going to see on Friday nights that'll be looking for him. Coach, just to kind of switch gears to you, same question. Obviously, you lose pieces, you keep guys get more experience. I think the whole state knows you've got a guy that's toting the rock there behind the line of scrimmage. So can you give us any information on the key guys and go from there?
Yeah, old 23 is pretty good. I think everybody knows that. I mean, we're blessed to have him, right? Let's just say it what it is. Jeremiah's a heck of a kid. Very pleased with his work ethic in the off season. He's come into camp the best shape he's ever come into. He's up to about 215. Stronger, faster. But the thing I'm most pleased with him is 3.85 coming out of the semester. I mean, GPA, I think that's a huge leap, a huge sign of understanding where he is and what he's doing in life. Can't take anything away from him. But the guys that we're really going to rely upon, the 3 guys that I would talk about are Wyatt Minor and Trace Wagner up front, offensively and defensively, both dynamic, both sides of the football. And truthfully, we'd be lost without our fullback H, Mike linebacker Aiden Morris. He probably means more to our team than anyone ever knows. I mean, you talk about a guy that knows formations, his technique, watches, studies film, does the right thing, spends hours in the weight room. We'd be lost without Aiden Morris. I can tell you that right now. He is vitally important to what we do, both sides of the football. Obviously, Wyatt and Trace are going to be household names before it's all said and done. Both extremely gifted, big, physical kids. But, Aiden Morris sticks out in my mind. I'd really like to see Aiden get some love. He deserves it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. Real quick here before we get to the next question, just a couple more sponsors that we want to make sure that we notarize. Health Matters Urgent Care. They'll be our fourth quarter sponsor this year for the Kaiser High School football broadcast. And Coldwell Banker Hometown Realty of Kaiser. They're awesome. If you're looking to buy, sell, anything like that, reach out to them. They've done great. And Burlington First Baptist Church, Pastor Tommy are once again supporting the live broadcast. You can watch them every Sunday at 9 a.m. on Facebook or listen at 107.1 FM. To continue the conversation here, Derek, what does it mean to you as just getting into that head coaching role? Obviously, you've got this. You had this top 10 matchup to start the season with RCB. You've got a couple other big games. Oak Glen, Point Pleasant, both come to Tornado Alley this season. What can you say about just putting not only your football program in your school, but your town as a whole on a stage like that, and you being the forefront of it?
Well, I think it just goes back to the way our community is. They rally around the football team, so I think it's something that we like to do, to try to bring in those big teams, and it's part of like who we've been. It was like that when I played here years ago. It was like that coaching here under Coach Bozzer, and so, but just having a chance to play those teams and see where we stack up against the state, and getting to travel to those places and see how they handle things, how they do things, and being able to just to get better week to week is something that's great for us. Like you said, we were road warriors last year. We spent 30 some hours on a bus. We went to John Marshall. We went to Point Pleasant. We went to Oak Glen, and being able to see those type of stadiums, how their fans act, and seeing how they do things really makes it special to when you're at home, because you get that little bit of home field advantage. That was something we missed last year. Parents in the stands, and we had a bunch of people, but it's nothing. You're playing it with a people makes it a little different, and our community likes to come out and watch football and cheer us on. So that's something we have to look forward to this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And as somebody that's been a part of that, been a part of those stands for many years, I can definitely agree. And I think Coach Gurrell probably going to be similar in that sense in that community up there around Robert C. Byrd. You guys, same thing, have a couple huge matchups later in the season, not to look past opponents before then, but between just to highlight two of them, Bridgeport and Fairmont Senior, two more powerhouses that you're going to test your guys out against. What do you have to say? Same ordeal, not only putting your high school and your football team on that stage, but just your town.
Well, I mean, it's in a sense, it's great to go play great competition. We've discussed that earlier, but it's a pride factor. You know what I mean? It's the opportunity to represent yourself, your school, your community, the things that matter. Obviously we want to make everybody proud of where we are, what we're doing. It means something. We talk about that a great deal. When you have that RCB, the Eagle, bird across your chest, let's represent. And with that comes the right thing. We're doing things the right way, from behavior to grades, to attitude, to work ethic, the whole area. I think that's important in trying to teach life lessons and life skills. Football does a great job of that, right? It prepares you to be what you need to be in life down the road. So anytime you get the opportunity to go play great competition, we're going to take it. I'm like, Coach, listen, that doesn't matter to me. If we got to hop on a bus and go 14 hours, I could care less. I think that the only thing that you're doing by playing teams, I probably should walk away from that statement. But if your goal is to go 7-3 and get in the playoffs, you're doing the wrong things, to my mind. let's go. If we end up 5-5, we don't get out, but we played 8 great teams, then we deserve to be where we are. Our goal, again, is I'm sure I know Coach Steve, his goal is not to take that route. I mean, if you want to be successful, you want to go play great competition. You want to represent, and we do that. Now, we're blessed to have Fairmont and Bridgeport in our conference, and they've both been ultimately successful for many years, the last 15, 20, 30 years. Everybody knows that. But it's not just Fairmont and Bridgeport. There's great competition all over the state. Kaiser, Bluefield. I mean, again, double A's are really, really good. Oak Glen's been tremendous lately. So, let's go find out. Let's go play competition. Let's find out who we are. And, that's all right. If we go 3-7, we get our ass kicked. I'm okay with that as long as we're playing good competition. I really am.
No, and I think that's something that kind of puts both RCB and Kaiser perennially in that conversation for AA football in the state of West Virginia. Never afraid to play competition, hard-nosed program, both. So we'd like to take a minute here, pause, and thank a couple other sponsors. So we'll be right back.
Buying an automobile isn't supposed to be hard. Hi, I'm Fred Timbrook Jr., and at Timbrook Automotive, we make car buying easy. When you buy from us, you can expect your experience to be transparent and stress-free. For your convenience, we have locations in Cumberland, Oakland, and Kaiser, which means you can get the finest cars at the lowest prices close to home. Visit us today at any of our locations to experience the Timbrook difference, or shop online at timbrook.com.
Like I said, so perennially Kaiser, perennially RCB, 2 of the top AA schools in West Virginia high school football. Is there anything, and we'll start with you, Coach Stephen, that you would like to add, anything special that you'd like to touch upon as we finish up here? And again, from Allegheny Media and all of our sponsors, we can't thank you guys for joining us.
The big thing, I just thank all the local sponsors for reaching out and being a part of this program, because all I've heard is good things after last year, because like you said, we didn't get a lot of fans in the stands, but a lot of them still followed us because they got to watch it online, which is amazing. And just to touch on what Coach was saying a little bit ago about trying to play competition at state, that's lets you know where you're at. It's not the goal. You want to be battle tested when you get in there, and I think that comes with the, like you said, us being predominantly decent teams every year, that we have to play a little bit more competition. We don't get some of the teams that we should, but hey, that's what makes us better. And coach will probably agree with me on that one as well. But I just can't wait for the season to get going. I know that we're sitting on pins and needles right now. Like I said, we're getting ready to have our first practice in 10 days. It's going to be a little walk-through practice, try to knock some of the rust off, and then we're going to hit the ground running on Monday to try to get back in this thing ready to go for the season.
Yeah, and to kind of further on that, Coach, is there anything that as far as you're going to open the season next week, technically week 2, for the Golden Tornado week 1 with Berkeley Springs? I'm sure the kids are looking forward to it. You're looking forward to it. What can we anticipate in that game next week?
We're hoping to anticipate it. It's not very sloppy. I know, like I just said, we've had 10. We're going to go back to the basics and try to get everything rolling like we were heading into that last week before we got shut down. So we're hoping we're going to come out. We're going to see a similar offense and defense that we've ran for the last few years. So nothing major is going to change in that aspect right there. So we're hoping that we're able to put some football out there that people will enjoy.
Definitely. Coach Gorell, again, same thing. Obviously, week 2 around the state, but it's going to be week 1 for the Eagles. You open up the season with Elkins next Friday. Can you tell us what you expect? Is there anything else additionally to what we've talked about that you want to add?
First of all, I'd just like to thank you guys for giving me the opportunity to be a part of this. I think it's great. I'm glad that we got the opportunity to get together and talk about this today. I want Coach to know that we are at Bird. We are very respectful of Kaiser and his program and the success they've had over the years. That goes without saying. I hope next week that we come out fundamentally we're sound. Special teams, O&D, all 3 phases of the game. We better come out hungry and prepared. I think anytime that you have a week, off that we didn't think we were going to have, I'm worried a little bit about, are they laxed? We're going to ramp up practice next week and go at it. I can tell you that. We'll come out hungry. I'll make sure that happens. But just the opportunity to get out, compete, and play, that's what this is all about. As long as we come out and play hard and execute, I'll be happy. I just want my kids, and I'm sure Coach will tell you the exact same thing. He just wants his kids to have the opportunity to play. What we're going through is crazy right now, and not just from an athletic standpoint, but an academic standpoint as well. I mean, we have a lot of kids in our area that are suffering. That don't play football, that don't play sports at all. I mean, let's be mindful of them as well, truthfully. A lot of kids in tough situations, as I'm sure you guys have right where you're at. Financially, academically, let's keep everybody in mind. That would be the goal that I would have right now. But obviously, we want to come out and play Friday, and I'm just thankful you guys gave me the opportunity to come on here and talk. I really am.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we appreciate your time. And like we touched upon before, I think Coach Stevens said it, football teams in small towns in the state of West Virginia give communities that central location to rally behind for a lot of those issues that you discussed. And that's why I think a lot of folks look up to not only your schools, your programs, but you two guys as two of the head front runners of top programs in AA football. From Allegheny Media, again, we can't thank you guys enough. Thank you so much for taking some time with us. We wish we were going to see a Kaiser RCB matchup tonight. And I'll leave you with this. Whoever wants to answer it, are we going to get to see that game?
Hey,
I can tell you this. We're trying. Tell Preston County to help us out. God bless America. Yeah, I'll put it out there. Switch your open so we can play. Yeah.
To get this game later on in the year, because I know it's both of us and people want to see it, and if we can make that happen, we will.
Coach, you have my word. If we can make it happen, we'll play, buddy. I promise you.
All right. Well, listen, hey, there it is. Two head football coaches of two of the top teams in the state for AA, Golden Tornadoes, Derek Stephen, and the RCB Eagles, Coach Josh Gurrell. We can't thank you enough from Allegheny Media and all of our sponsors. Our thoughts and prayers go out to all the folks, like Coach Gurrell said, that are in tough times dealing with the COVID pandemic and everything in between. So, again, thank you both for your time. I'm Greg Kearns, and this is Allegheny Media.